We need to talk about buyers. Buyers on eBay. There are some bothersome patterns of buying activity going on these days that you really got to be paying attention to so that you don't get taken. Hey, it's Don. Today I wanted to talk about buyers, the buyers of your items. Now, I personally worked in the public sector in retail and restaurants as an assistant manager, then as a general manager, and then finally as a regional manager. And I dealt with people, customers, buyers of our product for pretty much every day of my life. You know, the adage back in the day when I started was that the buyer was always right. Even if you knew they weren't, you had to take care of them like they were in the right no matter what happened. And I know a lot of people still feel that way, but in my personal opinion, with all the things that have been going on platforms with the way people can scam and do things like that to you, you know, it just doesn't hold water anymore. I can't hold to the saying that the buyer is always right because we get screwed, you know, from time to time from buyers, especially on eBay. Now, eBay is honestly the worst site for us with those types of problems, being taken by a buyer. Now, I'm not saying it's technically eBay's fault or anything else like that. You know, I have nothing to back up anything like that. It's just, you know, the luck of the draw, I guess, or more people are, or because of what's being sold, more people would be on eBay, especially those who are scammers. Now, in all general aspects, 99.5% or higher of every single sale that we do on eBay or really any platform goes through without a hitch, no big issues. It's that 0.5 or 0.25% of sales, though, that are the problem. Now, I talk to a lot of resellers in my groups, Patreon, and here on YouTube, as well as some folks here back and forth on YouTube. I do a lot of emails and personal conversations and chats with people, and I hear the same stories over and over and over and over again about buyers. They try to do this, they said this, they sent us this email. All sorts of different things keep going on. We're going to look at some. I'm going to show you something that was really bothersome to me just for the aspect of what they're trying to do, as well as some scammers and routine types of scams that we do see. We'll show you the actual cases. I'll show you some emails straight from my eBay account and show you what you will have to deal with. Now, the more items you sell, the more this will affect you because it's an odds game. If 99.5% of every sale is great, when you sell enough sales, enough items, you're going to end up eventually getting scammers and BS artists and things like that. If you don't sell a lot or you have a smaller store, you may not be, you know, hit by this, or you may be hit more because they might think you're new and go after you and think they can pull a fast one on you personally. Let's go look at some right now. So I just wanted to address two of the more common things that we have happen. Now, this person here bought 3 items and left good feedback for us. Said he was happy with them. After he left the feedback for these 3 orders, which we combined on the spot, sent together, all together in the same package, he then opened up returns on 2 of them, stating they don't fit. Now, these are cards. These are photo cards. Their sizes and descriptions were all stated ahead of time. All 3 were about the same size. He kept 1 of them, sent 2 back. You know, fine. He's allowed to send something back. The reason was pretty much BS because they don't fit, doesn't make sense for something that had the size. He knew it. He kept 1 of them and then returned 2 of them. So these are the returns. We already took care of it. We refunded him his money on both of these, which again is typically what you would do. We did not refund the shipping because he actually got an item that we shipped together. So there would be no shipping discount. It would have cost the same to ship the items, whether they had been 3 items shipped together or 1 item shipped to his location. So again, there wouldn't be any shipping discount. So he got fully the exact amount back he paid for the 2 items. Now, what keeps happening, and again, not just on eBay, but on other sites, is then after they get a refund, again, he knew that there was 3 items. He kept 1 of them out of that package. He sent the other 2 back. He returned them, got a refund, statements all show everything went through, eBay confirms it, everything else like that. Well, what seems to be happening quite often is then they'll open up another case and dispute the payment. They'll say they don't recognize the transaction, even though they got the items. They returned the items. They had to see them to return them. They had to physically put them in an envelope to return them back to us. And then they open up another case trying to get the money back a second time. Again, they were already refunded through eBay. Clearly goes to their account. Clearly on their end, they already have the money back, but yet they're still claiming they don't know anything about it. And again, this is just for the 2 items, even though they were paid for, or combined together into the same shipment. He purchased them separately because of how eBay works. That's, again, how it works. One of the items returned was the original one that had the full shipping on it, which, again, we weren't going to refund because we actually combined the other ones and they never paid for shipping on the other 2. So what's going on? I don't know, but this is something that happens quite often. Good news on eBay, as well as most other sites, though, is that when this happens and you did everything right, I followed the return procedure, I refunded the buyer within 24 hours. I think you got 3 days to refund them or something, but I always do it right away just to get it out of the way and be done with it so nothing gets forgotten or anything else like that. So I followed all the steps. I responded to everything quickly, timely. They were shipped correctly, and the whole works. So he got his money back. I followed everything. So in this case, even if the charge card company, his bank, or whoever it may be, decides on this person's behalf, even though eBay can show that he got it, didn't like it, and even returned it and got his money back, they could still side with him. I don't know, but eBay will cover it on their end. So it won't cost us a dime because we did everything right. We have no way to contest and, or challenge any of the payments or anything else like that because eBay handles payments. So I guess this is one of the pluses of eBay doing payments themselves, is that they are the only arbiters of who is right and wrong on this aspect, or, at least, who did what, and it's their fund, so they have to handle the cases. So again, in this case, I'm not going to be out anything. It's just the principle. Now, if you're not following the rules, you didn't have all the information, you don't have tracking, and all those other things that you could have missed in one of these steps here, you may not be covered through eBay's services for a buyer dispute like this, for a payment dispute. So you've got to follow the rules for eBay to help you and to cover any of these cases. So if eBay isn't covering these, technically I would have to give them the shipping fee back, so we would be out almost $60. So again, this is something that, was a serious amount of money for most people. Again, eBay's going to take care of it for me, so I'm not worried. It's more the principle. Now, obviously, the first thing I did the minute I saw the return, and the reason for it right after they left feedback, was to block them from any future purchases in any way, shape, or form. Something else we've taken to doing these days, too, is actually recording the name and addresses on a physical document, so if we get orders in that are questionable, we just run it through and make sure it's not somebody we blocked that's using a different account on eBay, because that does happen as well. Now, this is something that I have seen quite often, so this is something you should be aware of. And if you don't follow the rules, or you miss a deadline, or you don't post the correct information at the exact right time, you may not be covered. Part of that is having tracking, at least for us, is having tracking on the items the day it was shipped, right immediately the time it was marked shipped, putting the tracking in. If you don't ship through eBay and you don't put the tracking on for a day, you're not covered through some of the aspects of a dispute. So just keep that in mind. That is something that you can do to avoid all of these. Since we print through eBay itself, because we do get a shipping discount, as most people would using eBay, it covers that. It automatically adds the tracking and all the other issues to it. Now, another one, which I don't know, some people say they don't consider this a scam, but to me, this is someone trying to get something much cheaper through a dubious means. And I get people all the time asking if we'd give a break. Now, we get people asking all the time. We sell historical items. So, it's not odd for a museum to reach out to us. We sell to museums probably on a weekly basis. A small town one, a bigger one, or whatever. Even Hollywood studios sometimes reach out, and we sell stuff that they may use in a movie or use to make mass copies of something that doesn't exist anymore. So it's not odd. We get people asking us just to donate something, on our generosity to donate to them. Again, we're a business. We do our own, donations and charity stuff on our own. So we don't do it for somebody else. We don't sit there and, give breaks to someone supposedly doing a charity thing for someone and, just so they can save some money. Now, since again, we do sell a lot of collectibles and things in areas where people build up big collections, we get people asking on specifics like that. Now, this is one that says he volunteers for a veterans group by doing historical and memorial military displays. I've heard this line probably 50 times in the last 4 or 5 years. You know, at least once a week, someone hits us up with something like this. I don't do any of it. I won't give a break for something like that. If you buy multiple items, I'll be always happy, regardless of any other reason, to do that. Now, the person, I'm not going to highlight any of their collection here, but this person owns these items. These items are this person's personal collection. They're not, you know, done just for, he's saying it's for a church for Veterans Day. I don't mind someone doing something for Veterans Day, but that's on them. My father was in the military. I was very proud of his services during the Korean War. You know, no problem with military veterans or anything else like that. But the point is, when you use that, you're using the fact that you're supposedly helping or donating your services to a facility to get stuff cheaper. That's abusing that. You know, we have someone here who used to do that. They helped out at the university here collecting records that were donated to the museum's collection or the university's collection. They've got a largest one, I think, in the country of 45s. And they would pull out the good ones, use it as an excuse to get into these places, grab up these, take out the valuable stuff, and then sell it on their own eBay account. And I know this happened because I've had multiple people tell me, I've met the person, I know what he does, I've seen it, I've seen the records this person sold. So I don't buy any of that stuff when I hear it without having 100% proof. And still, I'm not here to give somebody else, you know, charity. I'm here to do a business, and then we do charity on our own. I have no problem. We've done charity things for years of our lives, for the majority of it. You know, we help, you know, stray animals. We do donations to this and that. So I'm not, you know, against any of that. But I'm against people using it trying to get a better price or to get an item for free. In this case, this person sent us a whole bunch of images of a very high-end collection on professional stands to hold all of this with framed items, all, you know, to the T. Every one of these uniforms they're showing has been pressed professionally, you know, taken care of. This is a very expensive assortment this person's showing me. They're using the fact that they would just set up at, you know, some church or some event, you know, to show off their personal collection as a way to try and get a better price. And again, that's offensive to me because we do true charity work to help, you know, the hungry and animals and, you know, people in general. And it's offensive that someone's trying to build their own collection by saying that they're going to allow it to be shown to someone for free. You know, this person's just going to keep this. Some of the photos in here are in like professional businesses and unrelated to, you know, a church or anything else like that. So, you know, they're restaurants and all this other stuff. And stuff like this to me is someone who's going to get that better deal on it. They may put it into a display at some place once, and then they own that piece forever. This is a way people in my field have personally gained, you know, items for their collection, their personal collection, by stating that they volunteer to do stuff. Your take on that may be different, but that's my personal take after dealing in this type of thing for years and years, decades. I see it all the time. I see people hitting us up on a weekly basis, sometimes multiple times in the very same week, but it happens every single week. Every single week, someone will want this museum of this item, a museum of that item. You know, again, I don't mind helping if someone's buying multiple items. You know, whether it goes to a good home, a bad home, or whatever, it doesn't mean anything to me. What it means is that I am selling something that's, you know, been recovered, and if they take care of it, that's on them. I have no control over what happens to it after, you know, it gets to somebody. So somebody telling me for a good cause or whatever, it's not a good cause for someone to build their own collection and get to keep all these items and, you know, and show them off to people and have their name, you know, displayed saying it's their collection. You know, I don't get how that's helping, you know, anybody really. I don't get how that's, you know, something that I should be helping someone do. I'm not going out and asking people to donate, you know, $1,000 button or $100 item to me or give me a huge break so that I can add it to my collection because at some point I may show it for free at an event somewhere. Well, there we have it. That's just a few of the types of issues that we have. Just a few. You know, and these are things too that, you know, in some cases you can't avoid. But as long as you do everything right, you'll be okay with eBay or whatever site you may be selling on. And other ones are ones that you can avoid even answering or responding to the folks just because they're trying to get a better price for a BS reason. And I guess that's the end of the story with that one. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.